Now when they see us in the streets, all they wanna do is take pics, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, and when they hear us on the beat, all they wanna do is make hits, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, okay. And if you're feeling that.
What happens when you take the most advanced chip Apple has ever put in a pair of headphones and drop it into their most iconic design? You get the AirPods Max 2. It's basically the AirPods Pro 3 dressed up in a much nicer coat. You get the same H2 power, same insane transparency mode, but with 40mm drivers that finally have the headroom to breathe. Let's talk about why this is the best headphone Apple makes and why they're either going to excite you or annoy you. By the way, if you want to check these out for yourself, I will have a link down in the description below. Now, let's get started by talking about the big changes. Active noise cancellation is the first place you feel the H2. Apple says it's 1.5 times stronger than the original AirPods Max. That's based on IEC standardized testing across all frequencies. The new adaptive ANC algorithm was built specifically for the H2 chip and the 8-mic array on the AirPods Max. It tunes each mic input individually and it adjusts in near real time as your environment shifts. So if you're walking out of a quiet building onto a loud street, the headphones react before you even notice the change. The original AirPods Max had very solid ANC, but this is definitely on a different level, and it should be because it's been 6 years since the originals. Transparency mode also got a meaningful upgrade, and I've said this for a while and I think many people agree, Apple has the best transparency mode you're gonna find out there. So seeing an improvement here is super cool. Transparency now has a higher frequency range, more natural processing, and it now includes loud sound reduction. So sudden sharp sounds like a car horn or a door slamming get softened without killing your awareness of everything else. And if you wear glasses or sunglasses with your AirPods Max, the H2 uses adaptive EQ to literally hear the air leaking through that broken seal that your frame creates and adjust the low end in real time to compensate. It's a tiny detail that makes a massive difference. Now, here's where things get interesting for the feature set. Adaptive audio is brand new to the AirPods Max. It dynamically blends ANC and transparency based on your environment in real time, so you don't have to pick a mode and stick with it. It just figures it out. That's the mode I've been using with my AirPods Pro for years. It's my favorite mode. I love it. Super glad to see it here on the AirPods Max 2. On top of that, they also now have conversation awareness. So when you start talking to someone, the headphones automatically lower your music volume, pull back noise cancellation, and bring up the voices in front of you all at the same time. Then when you're done, everything fades back. And the fade back timing can feel a little slow. That's a known quirk from AirPods Pro as well, but the feature itself is genuinely useful. Personalized volume uses machine learning to learn your habits across different environments over time. Maybe on the train you tend to go louder, but at your desk you keep it lower. The headphones will start doing that automatically so you're not constantly adjusting. Voice isolation brings your voice forward on calls by processing out background noise on the H2 chip simultaneously with your connected device. The result is that the person on the other end hears you clearly even when you're somewhere loud, and Siri interactions let you nod yes or shake your head no to respond to Siri announcements without saying a word. And I'm sure that is useful. Maybe you're on a walk or you just don't want to reach up and press a button, but I'd also say it's a lot easier to do that when you just have these super lightweight AirPod Pro in your ears as opposed to a headset on your head. Bluetooth steps up from 5.0 to 5.3, which brings lower wireless audio latency. And game mode on Mac, iPhone, and iPad now delivers ultra low latency for audio. So what you hear actually lines up with what you see on the screen. And that matters more than a lot of people give it credit for. But speaking of gaming, I do have one complaint that we'll get to later. Okay, specs aside, how do these actually sound? Because at 549, good isn't enough. And this is where those 40mm drivers finally get room to breathe.
But everybody thought it was jokes though. They have right, the joke is I got flow, so don't act like.
You see, the biggest factor in how these sound is the new high dynamic range amplifier. It's actually the same one inside AirPods Pro 3. Remember in the beginning I said these are basically AirPods Pro 3, but dressed up in fancier clothes. The original amplifier didn't have enough headroom and had a higher noise floor, which was essentially a ceiling on the sound quality no matter how good the drivers were. And now that ceiling is gone. And compared to the original AirPods Max, the difference is noticeable once you go back and forth. The bass response is just better. It's more accurate, more consistent, not bloated, genuinely just fuller. And the mids are richer and the overall tone is warmer. You get lower total harmonic distortion, and a better signal to noise ratio means instruments sit more distinctly in the mix. There's more separation, more clarity, especially in complex tracks where a lot is happening at once. Speaking of which, spatial audio with head tracking is still here and still sounds great to me. I'm a big fan of spatial audio, especially on Apple Music, and the mics, which Apple calls studio quality, are a genuine step up for voice memos and FaceTimes and dictation, but more on that in a moment as well. But here's what the marketing doesn't tell you. 24-bit 48 kilohertz lossless audio is still wired only. If you plug in the USB-C cable, you get it. If you're wireless, you don't. On a $550 pair of headphones, that kind of stings. You're not getting high-res audio over Bluetooth, and if that was something you were waiting on, Apple just didn't go there yet. All right, let's talk about some of the other features that don't have to do with sound quality. For example, live translation is one of the standout new features here, and it's genuinely impressive. Imagine you're in one of the best places on earth, Tokyo, with no cell service and you need directions. This is where live translation comes in clutch. It's doing on-device translation using the beamforming mics to isolate the person in front of you, and it translates for you in your ears while displaying the transcription on your iPhone screen. Now, one thing on this, I am glad the feature is there, but I think it seems odd to hold a conversation with someone in another language while wearing over-ear headphones. And maybe that's just me. AirPods Pro, again, feel like a better fit for that scenario, but let me know in the comments what you think. The camera remote feature is simple, but it's useful for anyone taking photos. You press and hold the digital crown while your iPhone camera is open, and it triggers your iPhone shutter remotely. So you can step in front of the lens and still control the shot. Oh, and similar to the live translation feature, this also feels way more niche to me here with the AirPods Max 2 than on something more subtle like the AirPods Pro 3, but it's there for those who want it. It's just, if you're taking pictures of yourself, you're always going to have AirPods Max 2 on your head when you're doing this. Oh, and the AirPods Max remain the only headphones that let you create and mix in personalized spatial audio with head tracking. That is a super niche use case, but for the right person, it can be a real differentiator. Okay, so AirPods Max 2 are a technical masterclass for sure, but we have to talk about the baggage that came along for the ride, because Apple didn't fix everything, and as much as the H2 changes the game, there are some legacy issues here that are honestly hard to ignore at this price point.
I used to get more laughs when I got laughed at. Oh, you got a mixtape? That's fantastic.
Now, we did already talk about one of the things that stings: no wireless lossless. You still need to plug in a USB-C cable to get that 24-bit 48 kilohertz audio. On a pair of headphones in 2026, that feels like it should not still be a limitation, and Apple definitely knows people want it. They just chose not to go there. Then there's the smart case. Nothing has changed here at all. There's still no power button on the AirPods Max, and the only way to put these into low power mode is to drop them into the case, which honestly, I personally just don't do. I just get these, take them out of the case, and never put them back in it. I just throw the AirPods Max into my bag and hope for the best. I leave them out and let them manage themselves. If you hated the case situation before, you're going to hate it just as much here. And I don't personally hate the case situation. I just don't want to use the case. So when I want to use them, I charge them up, and when I take them off, they go into low power mode instead of the super low power mode that the case allows them to do. Now, the design itself is exactly the same weight, the same headband, the same mesh canopy, as Apple calls it. There's no IP rating, so don't think about wearing these in the rain. But for a product that sat on the shelf for over 5 years before getting a real update, I can understand why some people say it would have been nice to see something change on the outside. Me personally, I think the design of AirPods Max looks great, and when I'm using them, I don't see them anyway, so not a big deal to me. Oh, and as for the weight being a pain point, just my opinion, but I've never personally felt the weight argument. AirPods Max have always felt comfortable for me, and I can wear them for hours without issue. And the design, again, I mean, Apple made it so iconic that everyone knows these are AirPods Max without the need for any sort of logo or branding similar to all other AirPods. That's par for the course for Apple's headphones. Now, here's one that a ton of people won't find out until it's too late, so I'm letting you know right now. We talked about game mode earlier and how you get ultra low latency audio with your Mac, iPad, and iPhone. But listen, if you plug in with a wire while gaming for that lossless audio, you are going to lose access to the built-in mics. So you get the ultra low latency wired audio, but the person you're playing with can no longer hear you. Wired audio and mic support should just work together, in my opinion, and they don't. And that's a frustrating trade-off that Apple hasn't really acknowledged or explained. Listen, the AirPods Max 2 are a technical masterclass in what a chip upgrade can actually do for your ears. The H2 is bringing legit 1.5x stronger ANC, it's got the new amplifier, and it's the reason those 40mm drivers finally have that headroom to do what they can do. But this is also a reminder that Apple is playing a different game. Yes, they care about sound quality, but they're also prioritizing the smart features, live translation, adaptive audio, and Siri interactions over the audiophile features like wireless lossless that people have been asking for since 2020. Bottom line, the AirPods Max 2 are the headphone Apple wants you to have, even if they aren't the ones you asked for. The H2 gap was massive, it's the real deal, and the features it brings with it are fantastic, but the legacy baggage is still there. If you can live with the case and the lack of lossless, these are going to be considered some of the best over-ears in the game. And if not, just stay right where you are with what you have now. Thanks for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm Andru Edwards, and I will catch you in the next video.
If you're feeling how the world should be perfectly, a fire like a third degree, and suddenly